Rutherford Issues with Bryan Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
And Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's Pro Solar program is committed to educating members on the process and helping them achieve their renewable energy goals. Learn more about Pro Solar and get a free consultation by visiting mte.com/prosolar. Well, Keith Bratcher is joining us here this morning, and we've got a lot of things to just chat about with Keith. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Bryan?
Doing good. Road board for how long?
I've been on the road board since I've been on there 23 years.
Wow.
Yep.
23 years.
Yep.
That's a long time to do anything, isn't it?
It is.
Road board, things are going pretty well, I guess.
They are. Oh yeah. I tell people all the time, Greg Brooks and all his staff out there and the guys that go out in the field, they do a very good job. It's just I tell people all the time, if you want to know how things are at the highway department, just drive around. And I know like this time of year, we had some snows and stuff and
pothole season.
Yeah, pothole season. I tell people, I get calls all the time, so I tell people just be patient, and because they do have the crews out working on them and fixing them and repairing them. So. But, everything's going real good at the highway department. Like I say, they do, Greg Brooks and his staff, they do a very good job.
I don't think a lot of people realize that the highway department is not in charge of every single road that people drive on. You may have Murfreesboro Public Works in the city. You've got state routes going all throughout and the interstates. So you probably get a lot of those phone calls about a state route or the interstate or something, right?
Yeah, we do. Like you say, out in the county, there's a lot of roads that are state routes, which we have contacts, with the state, and we give TDOT a call, and they probably don't respond as quick as we do on our roads, but they will respond, and we pass them along, but.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like I say, they have different requests on different roads. And a lot of times it's a state route, and we're not allowed to work on those roads. So sometimes it can take a little while longer.
I did a lot of, during the basketball region tournament, drove a lot to Wilson County on 840. And, man, it's rough as a cob.
It is. Yeah, they need to do.
Going to have to totally resurface,
yeah,
right?
They're going to have to do a lot of resurfacing on. And it's mainly, like you say, it's over. Most of it is in the Wilson County area on 840, not so much Rutherford, I think. So, but yeah, they do need to do a lot of resurfacing on 840. Oh yeah,
yeah.
A lot of traffic on 840, a lot more than people think.
John Dinkins and I on the way were talking about that. When 840 first opened, to see a car, it was like unbelievable just to see a car. But now that it's fully connected,
oh yeah,
it's busy.
It really is. It saves a lot of time, people going to, going west, Wilson County, Franklin that way, and then of course going back and being able to hit 24 and come off that way. So yeah, 840 is really busy.
So I live over in the Siegel area, and so if I'm going to do a ball game in Rockvale or Riverdale like yesterday, my fastest route is to jump on 840, hit 24, or take 840 out to Veterans if I'm going to Rockvale. And I can get it's a long way around, but I can get there quicker than going through town.
That's right. It is a longer way around, but you can just keep going, not have to worry about traffic lights and all that stopping, so you can really get there quicker. Yeah. You're exactly right.
Keith, a lot of people have said some good things about the highway department in the county, especially after we've had several storms recently, and keeping the debris off the road and that kind of thing. They're hard at work.
Oh, they are. And then, this past week, we had a lot of rain, and pretty much there's some areas that flood in the county and some roads, and we're pretty much aware of those. And so they're good about getting out and putting up signs, keep, blockades, keep people from driving off in there. But I can't never. I always tell at our meetings, I can't never say enough. Tell Greg to pass on to the crews and the people that go out and do the work. I get people all the time. I'll say, come up to me and say, Keith, I appreciate you paving my road or fixing this or fixing that. And I always say, well, I wish I could take the credit, but I can't because the guy, it's his staff, man. They're second to nobody. They do a really great job.
I looked on Monday. We had all that rain over the weekend, or Sunday or Monday, and there were 35 road closures throughout the county.
Oh yeah,
and they are all the typical. Every place. If you've lived here for any time, and you know that when it rains a lot, this area floods.
Absolutely, we
had it this last weekend.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of flooding. A lot of places. I'm like you. I've lived here all my life, so I know. Just like you, we know if you're in a certain area, you're gonna have to avoid that area because it's probably gonna be flooding. It's gonna be blockade also. Gonna have to find an alternate route. Absolutely.
Yeah, mine in the community where I'm at, it's Buckeye Bottom right there, Sulphur Springs, Buckeye Bottom, always.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But the river was really up too. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah. Well, I live out in the Lascass area, so I come around. Like Betty Ford Road area, all that river. I mean, man, it was really high. But I say one thing, it went down really quick though.
It did.
It really fast. So
Sunday morning, driving over by the Thompson Lane trailhead and stuff. I mean, it was really, really high. I think they even had a water rescue in there that morning, if I remember right. But by the next morning, it was down considerably.
Oh, it was. It went down really quick.
Well, a lot of things going on here in Rutherford County. One of the things that you have had to deal with the road board, I know, has been Jefferson Pike over there around Middle Point Landfill. There's always been some issues there. And, this coming up on Monday morning at 8:10 on the action line, County Mayor Joe Carr and Middle Point's Mike Clausen will be on to have a frank conversation, I guess, about the landfill and its future. And I'm sure that that's something you being on the board and also just as a concerned community member have some thoughts on.
Yes, it's like, when I very first got elected in 2002 to the Highway Commission, that, Jefferson Pike kind of was one of my main issues. I know had so many people in that community, Jefferson Pike's a narrow road anyway, and, wanting to get it widened and all that, which we have started on that on Smyrna end all the way back to 840. But you're talking about right there at the landfill. If you're not from that area and you come down Jefferson Pike from, say, 231 other way, man, you're going to know that you're approaching something that's, and it's that landfill. And over the years, I met with them several times. I know Representative Sparks has. I know Joe Carr back when he was a state rep, representing District 48. We spoke a lot of times and about Jefferson Pike trying to get them to comply and keep that road clean. I mean, it's just been you're going to, I know they have said in the past, and they want to be a good neighbor. And, I would want to, if I had that type of landfill or that type of business, I'd want people to come down through there and not, especially by looking at the road, not even know there was a landfill there, but it's just, there's trucks come in there, and I understand it's a constant battle, but, that's the price of doing business. You gotta, and they have made some efforts, here and there. They, had a street sweeper out there. At one time they invited me up there. They installed a wheel wash where these trucks are supposed to go through there. But I think a lot of trucks and stuff that's not controlled by the landfill, they don't go through that. They these drivers, from what I understand, talking to some of them, they get paid by how many loads they make. So they don't want to go. They don't want to go through that wash. They don't want to take that time. They want to go get out there and back and forth as quick as they can. So, but anyway, I get calls all the time, and I understand, people say, hey, Keith, I just went to town, spent $25 to get my car washed, and now I come down, going home and down Jefferson Pike, and I got all this mess and sludge all on my vehicle, and I understand that. So it has been a constant battle trying to deal with the landfill and trying to keep the Jefferson Pike clean, and so they, in my opinion, they have not been a very good neighbor as far as trying to do that. They really haven't.
I've heard some comments in that regard here on the air, and some of those have been, that there have been efforts in recent years, but to make improvements, but when things 10 or 15 years ago were trying to be done, it was like ignored. And it's like, you're getting toward the end of the life here, and now you want the community to support it. A roundabout way of what they were saying. Yeah,
it's been that way. When I approached them, it was, I want to say, they kind of listened, but I kind of got the attitude from them that, we understand what you're saying, but we're pretty much going to do what we want to do up here. And and that's pretty much what they've done, and I think they're headquartered out of Arizona, and I've had some folks from powers to be call me from there and this, that, and the other, but that's kind of been the attitude. Brian, it's, they're going to do what they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and it's pretty much like, well, we appreciate you coming by, but we're, pretty much got the attitude, we're still going to do what we want to do. But I mean, I've been pretty adamant. I guess a lot of times they probably got tired of seeing me, but I mean, I live out there. So it's not like I represent the area and I live completely across town. I live in the Lascass area. I travel Jefferson Pike. And when constituents and people say to me, "Hey, Keith, this looks terrible. My car's dirty," I know what they're talking about because I'm out there and I see it. And there is we have a trash pickup crew that works out of the I think they worked out of the same office as with the convenience center. So anyway, they go out and they have guys go out and pick up. So I do tend to call them a lot and say, "Hey, can you hit Jefferson Pike area a lot?" So they are real responsive to that, which, they really should have people out there. At one time, they used to, landfill used to get people out there I'd see them every now and then pick up trash down there, but I couldn't tell you the last time I seen anybody with the landfill employees out there doing that. No.
Yeah. I don't know in which direction this is going to go, but in your opinion, from talking with people in the community, is there support for an expansion and a continuation or no?
No. I mean, my own personal opinion, I don't want it, and I spoke a couple of times over the last couple of months at Public Works Committee. They had a representative there, the first one, from the landfill came and spoke. So I know everyone out there especially, but just I think overall in the county, nobody wants the expansion of that landfill. Before you had BFI or Republic, you had the old county landfill, and it was there for years. I think the community and especially everyone out there, they're just tired of that landfill. It's like I think everybody wants whatever the current contract or whatever it is expires with that landfill. Let that go and be done with it. Even years after that thing closes, Brian, we're still going to have to look at what I call Mount Trashmore. Still going to have to look at that thing, and it's just not it's just been a bad thing for Rutherford County. It really has.
So the alternatives, I mean, I think that's going to be something that, yes, you want this, but what are you going to do with all the trash and all that kind of thing? And I think that's the big question, and there's going to be a little sticker shock with that.
Yeah, I think so. And I know Mayor Carr probably speak more of that on Monday, but I know they have been out there and, on the old landfill road. They have already, to the left there, they've already been constructing that transfer station. And I think they got some things, what I've seen and talked about, had them talk about. I mean, it eventually it may wind up costing the county taxpayers a little money, but I don't think it's going to be too significant. But the thing about it is, we're not going to have that landfill out there. And I know the highway department, Landfill Road is a county road, and we just paved that week before last.
Okay.
So we had to got that all paved up. So they done some repairs on that and kind of beefed that paving up out there, because you're going to have those big, you're still going to have those trucks that go to the convenience centers, pick up the big dumpsters and bring them out there to transfer station. So Greg and all their crew, they got out there like week before last, I think, and paved all that up from Jefferson Pike, or all the way back there to the transfer station.
Yeah.
So they're moving along with all that pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the city and the county are going to work together, because the city's building their own transfer station, and that's going to help in terms of having to keep trucks from driving from Christiana all the way to the north of town.
Yeah, I think the city of Murfreesboro, I think they're constructing their transfer station like Butler.
I think that's
Drive,
right.
Off Butler Drive. So yeah.
So you got a south end and a north end, that'll help in terms of transfer stations at least.
Absolutely. So the city will take care of their own trash. They'll have their garbage pickup or whatever, like they still do at the curbside, and then of course they have their convenience center down there on West Main. So yeah, the city will be taking care of their own trash and taking it to their own transfer station, and then everybody in the county, you'll still go to your convenience centers like you do. And then if you pay for private pickup in the county, now when they come to the transfer station stuff, those companies, they'll have to pay, just like they charge the residents. They'll be charged, and I don't know how that works out. I know when they go to the county, when they go to the Republic landfill now, they have to pay, and it's based on tonnage. I know that, but I'm sure.
I think it's like $90 a ton,
something like that. I'm sure Mayor Carr, he'll have all those numbers if he takes that money. But so some of that, a lot of people are saying, well, when I start going to the transfer station, am I going to have to pay? No, I don't think that's going to be the deal. But
you're probably not going to be going to the transfer station.
No, I'm talking about the
right?
convenience centers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But the private companies that do private pickup out in the county, they will have to pay. So I think some of the revenue that they generate from that is going to offset a lot. So
well, that money is going to Republic now.
Right.
So,
but when they come to and that's another thing. After they close that, they'll have to. They're going to have to come to our transfer station to dump. So, and they'll be charged by the same tonnage, I guess. I don't know what the rate's going to be, but that will offset some of the cost. I think that it's going to cost us to process the trash and haul it out of here.
Yeah. Well, it's a very interesting dilemma, and I don't know that we're going to get answers tomorrow on it or on the Monday show, but at least the conversations are happening, and that's what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Keith, I appreciate you stopping in today. It was good talking to you.
Yes, sir. You too. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Brad.
Keith Bratcher joining us. He is on the Rutherford County Road Board and does a lot of great work here in our community, a longtime firefighter here. So hope you enjoyed the show. We'll have the podcast up shortly at WGNSradio.com.